Thanks for watching the Godly Rebels channel. My name is JD, and in this video, I'm going to be telling you about the 3 days and 3 nights. It's going to be a bit shorter than the last one because there's only just a couple of verses we need to go through. So here we go. Let's get right into it. Matthew 27, starting in verse 62. On the next day, which followed the day of preparation, the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered together to Pilate, saying, Sir, we remember while he was still alive how that deceiver said, After 3 days I will rise. Therefore, command that the tomb be made secure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples come by night and steal him away, and say to the people, He has risen from the dead. So the last deception will be worse than the first. I'm going to stop right there for just a moment. I'm sure by now you're picking up on these time markers. Beginning of verse 62, it says, on the next day, which followed the preparation. Those two phrases actually give us 2 different days. The next day that followed preparation day. So we have the preparation day that Jesus was killed. He was crucified on the cross. And it was the next day after the preparation day. Got it? 2 days right there in that one sentence, those 2 phrases gives us 2 days. Preparation day, day after preparation day. Now real quick, why did Matthew say the day after the preparation? That's very key, very critical. We know from John 19 that the day after the preparation day that Jesus died, specifically that day, the next day was a high Sabbath. So why isn't Matthew calling this day a high Sabbath? We're going to find out in just a little bit. But I am making it clear to you, dear viewer, that Matthew is making a distinction here. He is not calling it the Sabbath or the high Sabbath, but the day after. Okay? 2 days. Now, we pick up in verse 65. Pilate said to them, You have a guard, go your way, make it secure as you know how. The last verse, 66. So they went and made the tomb secure, sealing the stone and setting the guard. The very next verse, kid you not. Remember, if you don't know this, there were no chapter markers. It's a new thing, these chapter markers, okay? So the very next verse, it is a new chapter, but it's the very next verse. Matthew 28, verse 1. Now, after the Sabbath, as the first day of the week began to dawn, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came out to see the tomb. There you have it. Did you catch it? After the Sabbath, dawning toward the first day of the week. Boom. That, my friends, is the 3 days and 3 nights. So, remember what I said when I interjected. Why is Matthew not calling it a high Sabbath? He obviously knows what a Sabbath is, because just a couple verses later, he calls it the Sabbath. So Matthew's making a clear distinction here that the Sabbath he mentions in 28 verse 1 is a weekly Sabbath. And that is different than a high Sabbath that John refers to in chapter 19. It's different. So just to review, I'll put up the calendar now. We have the preparation day that Jesus is killed. That's day 1. The next day, like Matthew puts it, when the priests go to Pilate and say, put some guards in front of it, that's the next day. That's the high Sabbath according to John, but according to Matthew, it's the next day. It's not the Sabbath. And he makes that distinction. So then you've got the weekly Sabbath, which is mentioned in 28 verse 1, then dawning after the Sabbath, dawning toward the first of the week. That is your 3 days and your 3 nights. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that incredible? After all, it's back in Matthew chapter 12 that he talks about the sign of Jonah. Matthew quotes Jesus saying, the sign of Jonah, he will be in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. I find it fitting that it is in Matthew's gospel that we find a timeline, mini timeline, of the 3 days and 3 nights. Preparation day, the next day, the weekly Sabbath, dawning toward the first of the week. Jesus rose early on the first of the week, according to Matthew 16:9. Matthew 16:9. Now when he rose early on the first day of the next week, he rose early. That word in the Greek is proi, which is the fourth watch of the night, or possibly twilight. It's very close to the morning. It's like dawning. That's when he rose. Mark 16, verse 9. No and if or buts about it. He rose into the dawning of the first day of the week. Very clear. 3 days and 3 nights. So tell me what you think. Write it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. In the meantime, get in the Word, stay in the Word, put on the full armor of God every day, and God bless.